Welcome, welcome, you glorious people. Let us dive in. Today's topic is going to be the best in-game gear sets or mid to in-game gear sets that you can use on pretty much any character that I'm going to go through right now, and I'll explain why. So, jumping into this, and I don't have all these gear sets yet, but I did jump into the actual challenge stage and I went ahead and read through everything that was available. So if we go ahead and take a look here, we can see that once you start getting LR, these little stars that pop up on these gear sets is an alternate gear set of something that already exists. So if you look at the Secret of the Deep Sea, this is a 5% increased speed buff for two turns at the start of a wave. Compared to if you jump down a couple rounds, let's go down. Here we go. To the based gear sets, you'll see this is the speed set that is the Traveler's Essentials. This gives you a speed boost only if you get a status ailment. So I was doing some digging and I was thinking, Dragon, what could possibly be the best gear sets for in-game? And I came to a conclusion that 4-piece gear sets are trash. Plain and simple. I do not believe, and I challenge someone to prove me wrong. Once I get these, I will test both of them. But if my brain serves me correctly, and most of the time I believe that it does, I could just be fooling myself, it looks like these 2-piece sets is the way to go. And what I mean by that is getting 3 of these 6 cost, like for example, 3 of these, but 1 for attack, 1 for speed, and 1 for defense, for example. Now, when it comes to who gets what, is you have to look at your character's main stats that they use and their skills and survivability. First and foremost, speed is important on any character. I mean, I truly do not care what anyone else says. Speed is just, it allows you to take more turns. If you're taking more turns with less damage than someone else, but with enough survivability, then your damage just outdoes someone who has a higher base damage stat by 15% or 20% or whatever it is. Because your 2 turns going in the time that they get to take 1, you're obviously doing more damage up front. And especially when you pair speed and survivability with characters like Lotus, then there's another layer added to what the combat entails. With a debuffer or a tank, you're able to get moves off that allow you to slow their speed value. And then with tanks, you're allowed to get moves off faster and more times that allow you to taunt, which directs all of the attention to your tank. Or it redirects the opponent's speed to be able to move. Now, when we go look at someone like Asta, whether any main attacker, with Asta, he doesn't use any magic attack. So it's pretty obvious what we want to build. You want to do flat damage. Once we get into the later, the end game, we want to care about speed. And we can look at speed values of these different characters, how fast they're going to be going and moving. This is what allows you to move in turn without any other base stats like a skill or your talents or anything playing into consideration once the battle starts. So just flat. My thought process and what makes the most sense for PvE or PvP, this works both ways. It's not just one or the other. This would work both ways in regards to this, is that if you get your tank and your debuffer to go first, then you have more of the ability to have your attackers survive more than one round because you're taking incoming damage unless it's an AoE, but AoE attacks are usually a lot less strong and they do negative stats in most of the characters that I've read through rather than just doing flat out insane damage. That's why you have someone like Asta, where his attacks and everything are just very high percentage based off of a single target damage. In regards to like a Lotus, you have his AoEs and stuff like that. That is not a, you have his AoEs that are a much smaller damage output than the single targets. So when it comes based off of that, it's very easy to look at these items and kind of fine tune what you're going to be going for. So obviously everyone's rushing red. Perfect. Smart move. That stays the same. When we look at this, let's go ahead and pop over here to 15, where the real fun begins. Once you're at the very last stage, now what should we be going for? I believe that the best set on damage dealers is going to be 2 speed pieces. This upgraded 2 of the Secret of the Deep, 2 of the flat damage of the attack and magic damage, and then you can switch the last one. The last one, you can go for crit rate, which will be in this set right here. Or if you are doing PvE without a debuffer or a tank, you can go for one of 2 things. You can either go with a little bit more survivability, which will give you a 30% defense boost, 2 set, or another set of damage stacked on top of it. With this one right here, the flat damage. Those would be the itemization that I believe is the best for damage dealers. Now, of course, your substats and everything, you have to work around that depending on who you're using. All of those give both attack and magic attack. So when you're looking at characters like Yami, he scales off of both. If you read his abilities, a lot of them have scale off of both, scales off of both, scales off of both. When this comes into consideration, you're not building the gear based off of magic or attack because it's Yami. You build the gear for Yami based off of who your support character is. So if we go over here, and I apologize, let me find this real quick. Where is the glossary? Here we go. If we come over here to supporters like William, Mr. Vengeance, he is giving, not this one, he is giving increased attack. So flat based increased attack by 84%. So if you were using a supporter like Vengeance here, you would obviously want to go with a full attack set. Now let's look at a buffer like her. Increases magic attack. So magic attack right here. It also increases critical rate. So a different option depending on the support you're using. This is a genius thing in my eyes. It's a genius thing that this game did very well, is that it doesn't force you into a path of just using one team. Yes, there is a meta team that you can use, which will make your runs faster to the maximum of grinding. But if you don't get lucky to pull all of the meta characters, you're not out of it. Like, for example, now I don't have a William, but I do have a Sally. So this Sally right here, if I were to build it up, even though that she's a red versus a blue, she's still giving flat magic percentage. If I were to go ahead and build this, it would be a different story. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Be sure to check out, I just opened the Discord. Please join it. I'll be more than happy to help you guys with any questions that y'all have. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.